Sisters, welcome. May the blessings of the Lord be among us. I want you to ask you permission to start this meeting or to start this chat by showing one story that I was planning to tell, but I think in video will be better showcased. So the Indian culture is rich in a lot of fables, a lot of tales. But this one just grabbed my mind, and I invite you to watch it with me. The name is The Buddha and the Beggar.
There's a really famous story that I've been hearing in Thailand, and I want to share it with the whole world if I could. This is a story about the Buddha and the homeless man. One day there was a homeless man, and he's been trying to gather food, and he keeps noticing every day his food disappears. One day, he caught the mouse that kept stealing his food, and he asked the mouse, "Why are you stealing from me? I'm a homeless man. You can steal from richer people than me, and it won't have any effect on them." The mouse then told the homeless man, "It's in your destiny that you can only have 8 items in your possession. No matter how much you beg, no matter how much you gather, this is all you'll be able to have." The homeless man was shocked and said, "Why is that my destiny?" And the mouse said, "No, you should try and ask the Buddha." So the homeless man goes on his journey to go find the Buddha, and as he's going, it gets late, so he ends up at a wealthy family's house, and he asks if he could stay the night. They let him in, and they ask him, "Young man, why are you traveling so late?" And he answered, "I have a question for the Buddha, and tomorrow I'll be on my way." The family then says, "Can we give you a question to ask the Buddha? We have a 16-year-old daughter who can't speak. We just want to ask, what do we have to do to make her speak?" So the homeless man thanks them for shelter and tells them, "Of course, I'll ask your question for you." So the next morning he goes and continues his journey and sees a sea of mountains that he has to cross. He climbs up one mountain and he meets a wizard. And the wizard decides to use his staff to take the young man and himself, fly them across the sea of mountains. And the wizard asks the young man, "Where are you going? Why are you deciding to cross these mountains?" And the young man said, "I'm going to ask the Buddha a question about my destiny." The wizard then says, "Can I please give you a question to ask the Buddha? I've been trying to go to heaven for 1,000 years. According to my teachings, I should be able to go to heaven now. Can you please ask the Buddha, what do I have to do to get to heaven? Of course, I'll ask your question for you." And as he continues on his journey, he runs into his last obstacle, which is a river that he cannot cross. Luckily, he meets a giant turtle who decides to take him across the river. And as they're crossing the river, the turtle asks, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to see the Buddha. I'm going to ask him a question about my destiny." The turtle then says, "Can you please ask a question for me too? I've been trying to become a dragon for 500 years. According to my teachings, I should have become a dragon by now. Can you please ask the Buddha, what do I have to do to become a dragon?" So the young man thanks the turtle for taking him across the river and says, "Of course, I'll ask your question for you." The homeless man finally meets the Buddha, and the Buddha tells everybody, "I will answer 3 questions for everybody here, but only 3 questions." And the young man is shocked. He has 4 questions to ask. So he thinks carefully. He thinks about the turtle. The turtle's been living for 500 years trying to become a dragon. The wizard has been living for 1,000 years trying to get to heaven, and that young girl is going to have to live her whole life being unable to speak. And then he looks at himself. He says, "I'm just a homeless beggar. I can just go back home and continue begging." So as he looks at everybody else's problems, his problem suddenly seems so small. So he feels sorry for the turtle, the wizard, and the young girl, and decides to ask all of their questions. So he asks the Buddha, and the Buddha answers. The turtle is unwilling to leave his shell. As long as he's unwilling to leave the comfort of his shell, he will never become a dragon. The wizard always carries his staff and never puts it down. It acts as an anchor, keeping him from heaven. And as for the girl, she'll be able to speak when she meets her soulmate. So the homeless man bowed to the Buddha and went on his journey back home. He reunites with the turtle and he tells the turtle, hey, you just have to take off your shell and you become a dragon. The turtle then takes off his shell, and inside his shell were priceless pearls found in the deepest parts of the ocean. And he gives it to the homeless man and tells him, thank you. I no longer need this because I'm now a dragon. Flies away. The homeless man reunites with the wizard on the top of a mountain and says, hey, you just have to put down your staff, then you'll be able to go to heaven. The wizard lets go of his staff by giving it to the young man, says thank you, and ascends to heaven. The young man now has wealth from the turtle and power from the wizard. He goes back to the family that gave him shelter, and he tells them that Buddha said, your daughter will be able to speak when she meets her soulmate. And at that moment, the daughter came downstairs and said, hey, is that the man that was here last week? The young girl and the once homeless man have found their soulmate. This story tells us so many things, so many lessons, but for me, I think that sometimes we have to give things in order to get some things. Sometimes if we want to become a dragon, we want to become a lion, we have to be willing to leave behind what makes us most comfortable, what makes us feel most safe. We have to leave our comfort zone just like the turtle did. And in order to find true love, we must become somebody who is willing to put others before ourselves. When you're alone and when you're lost in your thoughts, sometimes your problems seem so big and it may seem like it's the end of the world, but if we look at other people's lives, other people who don't have as much opportunity as us and who have it worse than us, sometimes it makes our problems seem so much smaller. And if we're willing to lend a hand to those who are struggling more than us, willing to help them, it may change the course of your life, your destiny, and the universe may repay you in such a way that you never would have imagined. It will come back to you. All the good that you do in the world will come back to you. If you're going through hard times right now, I hope this story helps. My name is Sean. I love you all, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful life.
So I was right. I cannot tell this story as good as he did. But the thing is, as he said, there are so many teachings in this story. But the main question here for you, because we know who's the guy, right? In the metaphor, the beggar, it's us, right? Buddha, it's Jesus. And the guys that help him are people that are seeking help. But the main question here is, who's the mouse? Do you remember the mouse? Who's the mouse? The mouse is nothing but our existential conflicts. The mouse was the one who makes the beggar to go on his journey without being bothered by somebody that was stealing his things. He will be a beggar forever. He'll never gonna get out of his comfort zone. That was his conflict. And that is how we should see our conflicts, our existential conflicts. It's not a conflict. It's an invitation to get out of our comfort zone and find what is really important in life, and find what is really important for us to share, to give, to find. Let me use this guy first. Our existential being, since we're born, the main question that we ask is, why am I here? What am I doing on planet Earth? Have I sometimes I didn't even ask to be born. Yes, you did. And this is another topic. But yes, so no one would be reincarnated on Earth had not physical existence has a higher purpose. We are here for a higher purpose, which is not gathering goods, which is not making money, which is not getting the best car, the best house, the best family, looking, not inside. We are here with a higher purpose to be better, right? Spiritist book, question 132. What is the purpose of the Spirit's incarnation? Any clues? Any clues? Evolve. God imposed it in order to bring them to perfection. For some, it is an atonement. For others, a mission. The incarnation has yet another purpose, which is to put the Spirit in a position to face its part in the creation's work. Face our part. What is my part? What am I doing here? What can I do to help? Not what can I do to live better, because if you help, as we saw in the tale, you will live better. You will have things that money can't buy and the time cannot destroy. You will live better because our health is fabricated, is produced right here and right here. As a matter of fact, here first. We get sick in our emotions, and then we translate that to our body. So yes, if we think about our existential conflicts as a task, as a test, and not as an atonement, as, oh, why me? Why not, like the beggar said in the beginning, why don't you steal from somebody else? Don't we say that sometimes? Why me? Why not him? Why not her? Why don't you steal from somebody else, not from me? I'm a beggar. I have enough on my plate. Or, in other hand, I don't have too much in my plate, materials saying. So, don't delay the tasks that are made for you. Face them as a task, not as a problem. Because we have two ways of understanding things. Oh, this is a test. What's there for me? What can I learn with that? Oh, this is a problem. Whoever likes problem here, maybe a problem solver, but problem by itself is not a good thing. We want to get rid of that, not embrace. So why don't think about that as a test, as a way to get to perfection, as a way to perfect ourselves. This talk is based on this book, Existential Conflicts. Was channeled by Divaldo Franco and dictated by the spirit of Joanna de Angelis. Physical existence on planet Earth is a continual challenge, right? Or our life is like roses. Nothing happens. We're always happy. Everything goes good as planned. We have a lot of challenges every day. It is natural that even in a well-planned reincarnation, disturbing surprises happen. Because this is a planet where we were born to be tested. And if you're not going to get tested, that's something wrong. So, yeah, face your test, pass the test, it will not come back to you. Don't face it. It will come back to you in a different form, with a different wardrobe, if it's a person. But it will come back to you. Think about it. How many people we know that change partners in life, seeking a better man or woman, a better partner to be on his or her side. And all of a sudden, because they didn't change themselves, the partner, who was a prince or a princess, turns out to be a frog or a fraud. But he or she, they were always were frauds or frogs. But we face them the way we want to face them. We build our image about somebody. So that's our problem. It's not their problem. And if we don't change, we're always going to see princes and princesses in somebody else's. Our neighbor's green will always be greener than ours, because we always fantasize about something that we didn't even know if it's true. These challenges have great value in moral transformation of the human being to face them under the learner's point of view. That means that only if you face your challenges through the learner's point of view, that will be with great value. Otherwise, it's going to be just, why me? Mr. Miles, why me? Why don't you steal from somebody that has a lot of money? It doesn't matter for them. They have food enough. They have money enough. They have plenty of things. Why don't you steal from them? Well, because it was not on their plan. It was in yours. Face it. Embrace it. And change it. Like the beggar did. He could choose to don't answer one of those questions, couldn't he? Am I right? But he chose because he analyzed, I'm just a beggar. I can't go back to be a beggar because I'm used to this life. But a life without talking. 500 years trying to fly and don't get it. 1,000 years trying to go to heaven and cannot do it. Oh, I think my life is nothing compared to them. And that's where really you embrace your task, you embrace your test, and then you feel the richness inside of you. He doesn't need to get all of this good things that he got, but this is just to show that when you do the good things comes back to you. We need to try. All we need to do is try. The stone that rolls to the taste of the current rounds itself, becoming easier to be driven, meaning that the stone that doesn't roll creates slime, gets stuck in the dirt, and will never see any other scenario than the mountain or the swamp or whatever it is stuck. So let's be the ones that roll and keep rolling, because we want to see what's there for us in the future, what richness we can create in our lives to helping others, and this way helping ourselves as well. Remain optimistic when visited by any challenges. That's the thing. Remain optimistic, because the challenges are there, but the way that you react to the challenges will determine if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Your focus, let's face it, when we look at it, the life is just like that. If we look at the bright side, our life's going to be bright. If we look at the not as bright or the dark side, our life is going to be dark. For sure. Because where you pay attention to is where you lead your life to. St. Augustine has a great saying that I divide in two parts from the, the Gospel according to Spiritism. I'm sorry, because I keep it in Portuguese. Do what I myself used to do during my life upon the earth. At the close of each day, I examined my conscience, reviewed all I had done, and asked myself whether I had not failed in some duty, whether someone might not have reason to complain of me. It was in this way that I succeeded in obtaining a knowledge of myself, and I'm certain what there was in me that needs to reform, that needs to reforming. Ask yourself, because we're so tired by the end of the day, because we don't do any reflection. We just go to bed and crash. Some of us, and I hope a lot of us, at least pray before go to sleep. But to do this and ask, well, did I really live up to what I think is good, what I think is right, or today I just dropped the ball. Because if you drop the ball, that's something that happens. But if you realize that you dropped the ball, probably tomorrow you're going to be more aware of not doing that. If you drop the ball today and pass by without any problem, tomorrow you're going to drop the ball again. And the other day is going to be the same and the same and the same. So, again, we're going to be the beggars without the mouse. We're going to be the beggars in our comfort zone, complaining about life and doing nothing about it to change. So we need to act, not react. It's a big difference. If you think ahead, you always have a plan. If you wait for something to happen, then you have to do whatever you can to face the issue. If you are aware that the issue is right there, you have a plan to deal with. So ask yourself, have I dropped the ball today? Have I did something that somebody is not happy about this? Can I correct that tomorrow? And go. And go face the mountains, and go face the river, and go face Buddha yourself. Each person experiences the emotions that relate to the level of consciousness in which he or she stays, not being able to surpass it from one moment to the other. What does that mean? When we say here, so be it, what does that mean? What is so be it? So be it what? There is some situations and some people that cannot go over to meet you in your knowledge, or you're the other way. You don't agree. But this person doesn't have the knowledge or don't have the maturity to get to the point that you're trying to tell them. Are you going to get mad? Are you going to insist? Are you going to use all your power and energy to do something that you know that is not going to be granted to you because the other person is not in the same stage as you are? I'm not saying that we are in a higher stage. The person can be in a higher stage than us. But even so, there's no way. So be it is that. That's the way it is now. It can change tomorrow, but that's the way it is now. I don't need to agree with that. I have to accept that. Accept that people sometimes are mean. People sometimes are envious. People sometimes are greedy. And that's the way it is. Are we going to change then by feeling that? Are we going to change then by saying that? Sometimes, yes. Most of the time, no. So I'm not saying it's waste of energy, but you're going to get disappointed. And this is a waste of energy because you're putting your energy in something that you know that has little chance of work or has no chance of work. This person is at that level. Let's wait a little to talk about this, to meet them in the same place again and see if something changed. No one in earth is exclusively to suffer. So this thing about we are here to suffer, we are here to pay our duties, we are here to pay, we are here to evolve. We are here to find our way in God's creation plan and do our part. That doesn't mean that we are here to suffer. But what happens is, sometimes suffering is the only mouth that we find to take us from point A to point B. Because if it doesn't hurt that much, we're going to stay in the point A without moving. And when the pain is so big, then we say, yeah, I got enough of this. Let me move. Unfortunately, that's the way we are. Our brains are wired to look at the problem first, at the negative information, at the danger first, and then look at the good things. So if we don't want to rewire our brains to look at the good things instead, it's hard because it's programmed inside. And habits are hard to change. We need to understand, no one on earth is here exclusively to suffer. Besides the one that really want to suffer and don't even know. And we know people that is just like that. Habitual complainers. You start talking about the pain that you have, his pain is all way better than yours. Is that a better pain? Not really, right? But, you know, I'm going to brag about my pain. Why? I'm going to try to get rid of my pain. Not saying that mine is better than yours. It's bigger than yours. What is the deal here? We're not seeing, we're not focusing on the right target. Suffering destroys us or rebuild us. So we have a choice. We can get destroyed or just reconstruct us from inside, depending on your way of acting. Happiness does not mean opposition to unhappiness. It occurs when one moves to the other, to one state of mind to the other. What is happiness? And what is unhappiness? Unhappiness is the lack of happiness. Like darkness is the lack of light. It's not the opposite. You have unhappiness, you are unhappy, and you move. You move, you accrue something, you got happy. You stuck. That's how we do. Oh, I need a job. I fight like a lion to get that job. I got my job. I'm stuck. Because I'm happy for a period of time, but I stay there. Not trying to progress. Not trying to see where's my next step. I'm just staying there. And start complaining. Oh, I don't make money enough. Oh, I don't know if somebody here worked for Disney, but if you don't work for Disney, you know that Disney pays a really bad rate. I worked for Disney for 10 years, and then I worked for another company. I have a picture of me and Minnie Mouse right in front of my screen to remind me that I'm so lucky to have this job. That I'm so lucky. So I will never going to complain one day about this because I know what it was before. And I know that I cannot, if I start complaining right now, that means that I need to move to something else. But that picture reminds me what pain can be. And pain is not Minnie Mouse, please don't get me wrong. She's awesome. She's a great lady. But come on, guys. You know what I'm talking about. You don't need to hurt yourself up to a level that only then you're going to move. We can move faster. We can move further if we act and not react. The human being is a bundle of emotions that need to be well directed. Again, emotions. We are driven by emotions. We buy emotions and justify with reasons. That's the way it is. Everything that we buy, purse, love, a partner, comes from the emotion side. And then we justify, because we need to justify to ourselves why we made that purchase. We purchase an emotional level. And then we justify right here. That's the thinking process. So if we know how to deal with our emotions, if we know why this is causing me this such emotion, if we stop to think and analyze what's causing me to really don't accept or really don't like, let's say my mother-in-law, I love her, okay? But it's just hypothetical because so many people say, oh, I don't like my mother-in-law. It's just a figure of speech. You want to be one more. You want to be a habitual complainer. Just because everybody says, oh, she's not great. Come on. Analyze. Don't go with the flow. You're one. You have your thumbprint. It's not equal to anybody else. That means that you can do something that people they cannot do. And if you don't do that, nobody will. This is your talent. If you bury it under the ground to give back to the owner of the property when time comes, you did nothing with the talent. Your job is to multiply your talents. And by talent, I'm really saying talent. Because the parable from Jesus was talking about money. We need to multiply our talents. But it's not, we cannot do that without analyzing our emotions. What is disease and what is health? Health is the ideal state of life. Disease is a disturbing vibratory occurrence, a change of behavior in the molecular organization of the individual on his, her physicism in the process of maturing. What that means? What that means? Let's think about a little bit of how the body works. If I scare you right now, you're not, you're just walking around here, this is dark, and I just boo to you. Exactly. Your body is invaded by adrenaline, right? What if that happens each hour for 1 week? How much adrenaline you have inside your body now? An overdose. What an overdose of a chemical substance do to your body? Make it sick. Where the chemical substance came from? Emotions. Are you following me? That's quite amazing. We produce most of our diseases because we don't analyze our emotions. Most, not saying all, most. If you are angry or sad or you have trouble forgiving somebody forever, what are you accruing inside yourself? We know that, right? Don't need to be said. But that's the way it is. The whole effort, therefore, to preserve the mind from the invasion of ideas carrying unbalanced energies become preventive psychotherapy responsible for the healthy life. What is there for us? Every time you have a bad thought, replace it. Change it. I wish we were like a magnet that attracts the opposite energy. So we give negative energy and comes back positive. It doesn't work this way. We send bad energy, negative energy, and we get negative energy back. And spirits are nothing but energy. So if we start thinking about bad things, sad things, things that bother us, what kind of spirits do we have around us? Higher, positive, or the same level as us? Thought process. Start thinking about your thoughts. Start analyzing. Is that good for me? If it's not, replace it. Replace it. Don't feed the thought, because that's when problem starts. Again, St. Augustine, ask yourself these questions. Inquire yourself what you have done and what was your aim in such and such manner. Whether you have done anything that you would blame in another, whether you have done anything that you would be ashamed to avoid, ask yourself this question. If please God to call me back at this moment into the other life, should I, on returning into the world of spirits in which nothing is hidden, have to dread the sight of anyone? Am I be ashamed to look at other spirits that can see my book entirely from top to bottom? Everything that I did? Kardec tells us that one of the main remorses from spirits that discarnate is to not have done enough. They came with a higher expectation, a lot of tests that they want to accomplish, and they did nothing. And that is really shameful. So let's not waste this incarnation. Let's use it for the good. Let's use it for helping people like the beggar that start the journey thinking about himself. And in the middle of it, just change. Because he saw so many people trying to help that he tried to help as well. And he realized that by helping people, I don't have that much trouble. I don't have that much problems. My problems are really nothing compared to the others. So let me help somebody else. Then I see if I can do something for myself. Guess what? You are doing right now. As soon as you start helping others, you are doing something for yourself as well. Change your focus, my friends, and see your life change. Whenever you find yourself struggling with difficulties and challenges, think that you are being honored by life in order to achieve the freedom that awaits you. And that's the time that people say, you guys are masochists. You guys like embrace pain. Have you ever saw a spirited person kneel down on corn and start hitting himself? I didn't. And if you did, please don't share that with me. I'm going to get my nightmares. So I don't want that. What we're saying here is that our problems are not torments. Our problems is just a way that life and God found to make us act. Otherwise, we're going to be like the beggar, begging forever, not changing our condition because we are so used to that. We don't change. Do not allow anger or aggression, bad energy. Do not blame your luck, karma. Karma is the law of you do something, you have something in return. If you did good, you get good. If you did bad, you get bad. That's right. It's the same here. Cause and effect. That's what it is. It's not a good karma or a bad karma, because people only refer to karma when it's a bad karma. That's both. But again, our brain is wired to look at danger, look at things that are not positive. So we always blame our bad karma. Start blaming our attitudes instead of the karma, and we can change. Consider that joy is the fruit of struggling and renunciation, dedication and work. Unfortunately, we could learn with love. We could learn by loving each other. But normally we learn with pain. My friends, when you came to this center, you came to tell everybody, hi guys, I just passed by to say that my life is awesome, that I'm having a great life and I want to share that with you? Or you came because you are with some kind of problem, some kind of pain? That's when we move. That's when we seek help. Without the mouse, we don't change. Without the conflict, we don't change. So, let's bless our conflicts. Let's bless everything that happens to us, because if that's not this, we'll be stuck in the same position for the whole incarnation doing absolutely nothing. That's the way it is. And where we focus is where we're going. Life is a matter of perspective, my friends. Find the best angle, even if you have to go upside down. Go upside down. If I do this like this, baby, probably going to call a chiropractor to put me up. But yeah, you got the idea, right? We are still imperfect spirits, and we find ourselves in a spiritual childhood. That is not an excuse. That is to position us where we are. The mistakes we make are deficiencies in learning. You know why? Because normally, when we are to look at our problems, our mistakes, we are so hard with us that we try to punish us instead of learning. It's deficiency in learning. If you are deficient in learning, find a good teacher, find a good method of learning instead of punishing yourself. Assume that you have a deficiency in learning and change it. Because all we say we don't have a problem. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. Or, yes, I'm bad. It's not 8 or 80. Has to be a medium term. You have to change, but you have to change progressively. You have to be kind enough to yourself to keep progressing without trying to kill yourself with regret. And mostly that's what we try to do. Conflict arises as natural consequences of our imperfect state. We learn not to err again by repeating the lessons. So, we don't pass the test in school. What happened? We get it again. And we don't pass, we get it again. And after a while, if we don't pass, probably we're not going to get the same school. But probably going to go to other school and get the test again. And that's how it works in life. But the Father is so merciful and wise as well. He's not going to present the test the same way. It's going to come differently. But the meaning of the test is the same. The learning is the same. So, yes, I dropped the ball this time. We'll try to not do that next time. And I know that the test will come to me again. So, instead of being harsh to yourself, understand. Understand. This was my deficiency in learning. Let me try it again. Our process of self-knowledge depends on the other, for our conflicts emerge from our relationships with our fellows. If it's just us in planet Earth, not relating to anybody else, some people will say, that will be perfect. That will be awesome. There will be me world. Nothing but me. We need to evolve by mingling, by getting in touch with others, by sharing information, by disagreeing, by negotiating. That's how we evolve. If it's just you, if you spend your whole life in a Buddhist monastery in the top of the Himalaya, and you go to have your meditation in a below zero freezing cascade of snow, and after 15, 20 years you get a revelation. Wow, I got a revelation. To share with who? Maybe the Sasquatch? Maybe there's nobody. So what's there for the revelation? I got a revelation. I cannot share. Got nothing. Because the revelation is there for you to share, for you to help people with, not for you to keep. It's only valid when you share. It's only valid when you give to somebody else, when you mix with some other intentions, some other culture, with some other understanding. Then you have something. Working the conflicts on daily living is an exercise in a spiritual maturity. You are gods. And we don't think us as gods. As a matter of fact, we learn to be humble. But nobody told us what humble is. We think that humble is like, I'm humble. It's nothing like this. Humble is to recognize our place. Humble is to recognize that we are not better than anybody, but we do what we do good. Because if you, oh, I'm not as good as anybody here. No. I have my time. I have my skills. And in that sense, I'm proud of it. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to throw in your face. I'm going to use it for the good, not for the bad. The true spirits can be recognized by their moral transformation and by the efforts that employ in order to dominate the bad instincts. That's what we try to follow. What is life? Hard to define. Jesus reminds us that life is to seek within ourselves the virtues that were planted in our soul by God, our Father. So, our life is not out there. It's in here. Life is inside of us first, and then we share. My friends, get better 1% a day. And in 1 year, you'll be 365% better than you are now. I know you told me that is not a good, but let me tell you one final tale. And this is real. A guy in India, he lives in an island in India, and he saw this island being devastated. There's nothing there. What was a beautiful tropical island became a desert. Every day, for 35 years, he went out of his home with a bag. Inside the bag, there was one tree, one small plant that became a tree. And after 35 years, plus 365 days, he planted the equivalent of 2. It's not a stadium. Central parks. He has 2 central parks of vegetation, trees, animals. The elephants got back. The tigers got back. The rhinos got back. The life got back. Because of one person. So yes, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, it fits. It's 365 because you're going to do 1% a day and doesn't have any interest attached to that. It's just that, pure and simple. 1 + 1 = 2, even in percentage, because the percentage is right here. So, my friends, I wish us to be 365% better each year. Much love and much peace. Thank you.